Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Saturday Night Livestream. Tonight, it's all about couples and finances with the reluctant Tim Danter, who got tricked into this by his wife.
Yeah.
How are you doing tonight, Ken?
Doing good. I'm doing good.
Tim. I'm so used to having Ken over there, right? So
Listen, it's Tom, Ken, but just don't call me Mr. Johnson.
Okay. We will call you anything but Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, it's going good. It's going good.
Okay. What is Nancy doing tonight? Is she up at the cottage, or?
No, it's for the last I'm gonna say, to be safe, I'll say 20 plus years. They've always sort of Super Bowl weekend had a girls' university weekend, so this is it.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you do the Super Bowl at all, or?
Me?
Yeah.
No. I used to. We used to when the kids were younger. We had the bigger house and we were more into partying, but now we're old and it starts way too late at 6 o'clock.
Oh yeah, 6 o'clock.
Or no, is it 6? I don't know. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, no, no, I've kind of got out of sports. I mean, I do pipe in the playoffs or NFL, but regular season, I really don't. I don't follow many sports in the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only thing I've ever followed with the Super Bowl really has been the commercials.
Yeah,
that one time a year people want to watch commercials.
Yeah, they've got. Isn't there 2 people on this year?
I'm not sure who's the main attraction for the halftime. Is that it? Halftime show?
Don't know.
But I know you get a lot of good trailers and things like that that'll drop. And
yeah, I know The Rock. I think The Rock is on at the pregame. I think he's pregame or.
Okay, that's pretty.
Whatever.
Cool. That is definitely pretty cool. So we got a few people in the house. Jason was in the house nice and early, mentioning that I should have had Ryan Andrew on for couples night. That would be interesting. A lot of people laughing at that, including the friggin' Oracle, who is always here. I'm on an island bay from the island Canada. I don't know what that means. Oh, I'm an island boy from the island of Canada.
I don't know what he's smoking.
Boy. Okay, he's definitely having some fun. Hey, Verena, nice to see you. We have.
Oh yeah, Snoop Dogg. That's it. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg. Okay.
Snoop and
Eminem.
I almost.
And we got Jill, and we have Sandra up here. All right, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Finances and couples. Do you find it a challenge?
Listen, I'm not going to get punked already, am I? Like, she's not hanging out on a different thing. You're going to zap her in on a different screen, am I?
No.
Okay.
No. That sounds like something I would do, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And of course, whatever I say tonight is totally verifiable when Nancy gets a hold of it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Nancy has yeah, you know how Nancy is.
You know what? It's going to be 31 years of marriage on Wednesday.
Holy banana bread. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So it was very close to Valentine's when you guys tied the knot.
Well, you know how guys have a tendency to forget dates, because every time I get asked, it's like, is it garbage day? And it's like, that's always the wrong answer, right? So, no, it was the reason why, and I don't know if she's told the story. She probably has, but the reason why is because when I married Nancy, she was second year university, and it was her reading week.
Okay. No, that makes sense. So that gives you a good reason to remember. Ryan's congratulating you.
Thank you.
31 years. 31 years is a long time by today's standards.
It is, yeah.
A lot of people I've known who've gotten married, they're lucky if they get to 10 years. So, that's definitely a huge thing.
I wonder if finances played a part in that.
I wonder. It's like we're going to be talking about that or something.
Yeah, I get the feeling. I get
that
vibe.
I do get the feeling. One thing I want to just talk about right away, because it always amuses me, is when Nancy comes up with one of these coin ideas. It's like, oh, do we have this? We should get this. And you give her that look. You know the look I'm talking about.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you keep Nancy from buying something that she shouldn't buy? She doesn't know how to buy. That's a good part.
So it's like the household bills and everything is my responsibility to pay. And I'm sure we're going to get into, who has what bank account and so on and so forth and stuff like that, which whatever, you can hit that point at any time. But, yeah. So, I guess I rationalize with her and I just say, too many eggs in the basket have, a really bad way of getting cracked.
Hmm.
And focus, I don't, I listen to some of the folks here in the community that have 20, 30 coins in it. And it gives me freaking anxiety. Like, how would you ever unload those if you had to in a hurry?
Hmm.
That's, I guess, one of the premises I do. And you know what? I personally have kind of got over the hype of, oh, got to get this coin, or oh, got to get this stock, other than some of the good suggestions you've had, which have really panned out. But I just, no, I'm not, especially with the times we're coming up against now. I'm not investing anything more. I don't need to risk that money in a coin that maybe I don't have that money to burn. Let me put it that
Hmm.
way. If something
Yeah,
goes wrong or I can't get out in time.
that makes sense.
We did our realignment last year, and barring some big thing, that's where we stand.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, I guess one of the questions I have is where you're doing all the finances, have you taught Nancy to do the finances? Because, God forbid something were to happen to you and she's left alone. I have seen this happen a lot where the spouse that does all the finances is the one to pass, and the other one's then like, I have no clue what to do.
Right, and that's down the same road, no pun intended, as one person drives in the family, the other person doesn't drive, and
Hmm.
something happens to the one, and the dependent is up the creek without a paddle. So, in answer to that, what I have done is, I guess, I wasn't so much aware of it in the earlier times of our marriage and stuff like that, because you're invincible, you're young, you're
Hmm.
whatever. As you get the gray hair, you get a little bit more wise, and you get the shit kicked out of you a couple of times in business. You come back from it. You have events in life happen to you. You start to write things down. So
Hmm.
last year, I started to write every single thing down. 2, 3 years ago, one thing that we did was I produced a spreadsheet and I said, "Here's where we stand." She
Hmm.
doesn't like talking about finances because when we had the driving school decades ago, we went through some really, this time of year, bad times, and it upsets her. So I took that off her shoulders. So
Okay.
so I write stuff down. I let her know where we stand. She has an idea of where it is. She has passwords and stuff like that. And we try to review it at least once a year. So,
Hmm.
I think it'll be more top of mind now, just because of, what we're doing, and where we need to go and how we need to protect our money now, even more as you grow older. I guess it's just a,
Yeah.
a part of financial maturity.
No, that makes a lot of sense, especially with something like Bitcoin. Like if one partner were to pass and they're the only ones who know the keys, that could be a really bad thing for the surviving partner,
Hmm.
for sure.
Hmm.
Uh, but you only just recently, you said you recently started teaching her this stuff, at least bringing her on board.
It was there initially. There was a couple of years back when we sort of did what we called the financial diet, and we had an opportunity in life where we were moving from one house to another house, and a number of things changed in life for us, and it was like, this is the perfect time to grab a hold of the finances and get back on track, and to actually put down on paper where we stand. Here's the deal. I was talking to a Nancy's cousin's son today,
Mhm.
and we've developed a really good relationship. And he's a really great guy, and he loves the investments. He's into crypto and stuff like that. And the conversation turned into a financial diet, and how do we, you need to know, you've got to talk about the elephant in the room, because
Mhm.
when you're making money for so long, and it's just like, oh, and no care in the world, right? And it's all of a sudden, now I got a care in the world. You've
Right.
got to put it down on paper. You've got to put it down on paper, or else you have no idea where you stand.
Hmm.
And we
Absolutely.
didn't do that, and that's, I think, what scared her. And she's over that. She's over that a lot now. She can look at it, and we can do it no problem whatsoever because we're in a different boat. Our kids are out of the house. They're on their own and stuff. Not everyone's like that who's listening to us or who will listen to this on a repeat of the podcast. But
Yeah.
You got to know where you got to face that in right out head on and know exactly where you stand, because I'll tell you, my guess is 9 out of 10 people's finances are broke.
I would absolutely agree. And I know there's this one word that everybody hates, but they should all be doing, and that's called the budget. The budget word.
Yeah.
When did you guys start doing the budget?
5 years ago. 5-6 years ago is when we got really hot and heavy about it. I do one for my corporations and stuff, but we never did the personal one. And as I said, we went through some tough times with the last recession, and then the last drive test strike for the driving school. And one of the things to our financial recuperation was for me to sell my driving schools, because that was, I'm not in it to subsidize my business. You know what I mean? And it got to a point where it was just after 30 years doesn't make sense anymore. So it's been about 5 years hardcore, and every once in a while you slip and it's like, got to get back on that. And that's why you've got to face that you've got to face it head on, and you got to look at it yearly. And you've got to get down into the nitty gritty. Print out your bank statements, print out your Visa bills, and look at that. You'd be surprised about all the little $1.99s, $9.99s that show up, and it's like, shit, I forgot about that, all those subscriptions and stuff like that.
Well, and one thing that worries me, I think, for a lot of people is that because of the illness, people have learned how easy it is to order stuff online. So it's just a matter of hit a couple buttons and there's a couple $100 gone. Bang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazon loves it, but
that's one thing. I mean, we've tweaked our approach. We tweak it every once in a while, and one of the things that we've done recently to tweak is we've started using the Shake Pay Visa. She has one, I have one. It's prepaid. No money, no purchase. So it makes you immediately stop and say, want or need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So,
and I think that's a really good way to go, because then you do your budget, you determine how much you can spend, you put that on the Shake Pay Visa in this case, and then when it's gone, you're done.
Yep.
That might help give people a little bit more responsibility.
Well, we set up separate bank accounts for expenses, mortgages, and stuff, and then our what's left over bank account. So,
yeah, absolutely.
As opposed to trying to figure out, do I have enough? When's it coming out? Because I found that when we had it all in one account, you wouldn't consider what was coming out at the 15th or what was coming out at the 1st of the month and stuff like that. And you'd get this, you get the little, lure or the little flashy fish thing, and it was like, oh, I need that, I like that, I like, and it's like, and then something would bounce on you, and it would only take once or twice for you to go, there's got to be a better way of doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
To protect yourself. One of it is self-discipline.
Yeah. And hi, Riley. Riley is here. And then Jill just mentioned online shopping is easy, and there's no visual reference of money compared to cash. That's true. You just don't see it. It's just like bang, bang, done. It's not like you're in the olden days when you're taking out your wallet and you're pulling out all the bills and handing that over. And so that's kind of the new world that we're living in. And I think it's going to be a challenge for a lot of people if they don't get all of their ducks in a row.
Yeah, it's not an evil ploy by the banks, because it's a very convenient way. It's really, credit is not our money. We're spending someone else's money, right? And at least if it's a prepaid, that's my money. Unless I'm using it from a credit line to go in there, which is not my money.
Yeah.
But you understand where I'm going with that, right? At least it's more controllable and more, you can catch yourself more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but you understand.
Yeah, absolutely. You're holding yourself accountable in that way.
Right, accountability.
Accountability is definitely huge. Now, before you had a budget, did you ever have some of these really big financial mistakes that just completely sort of hit you left center because you weren't organized? Like, I'm just wondering what brought you to realize, yeah, I do need a budget.
Yeah, I think that it creeps up on you. We had like back in I call it the heyday, and we'll call it the heyday because
Mhm.
that's it. It was things were good, money was flowing. We didn't have to think about things. We had I had a considerable at a very young age amount of money put away in an RRSP.
Mhm.
And then you get into trying to keep up with the Jones, and you don't
Mm,
think about it because you never get caught. Now, what I mean by that is you never get caught because you could always pay the balance off until you can't pay the balance off.
right.
And the thing is when you're in your heyday and you're making good money, the limits on the credit cards go up, unbeknownst to you sometimes.
Hmm.
And you get other offers come in, and it's like, yeah, why not? And before you know it, you're 2 or 3 cards with 10 or 20 on them each, and it's like, uh-oh. And before you know it, something goes wrong. Now, as an independent business owner who would be the last one to get paid and faced 2 recessions, 2 strikes by the government, uh-oh,
Hmm.
that's 18% interest that I'm paying on top of the mortgage, right? On
Yeah.
top of having to put a roof over the head, on top of having to blah, 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 blah. And we had a big house that had a pool, that had all this and had all that. So we were living off credit. I mean, it's everyone. They're people can relate to that. We've lived off. I would assume we've all lived off credit at some point in time in our life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a, and that'll kill you. Like, if you got really high interest rates, that should be your number one priority, is getting those taken off. I know as well, I know my mom had a bunch of different cards at one point that all had, like, anywhere from 15 to 25% interest. And I was just like, find somebody who you can just consolidate this down to a smaller interest rate.
Yeah,
Because, it was at the point that all of her payments she was making, 90% of it was interest.
that's right.
She wasn't getting ahead.
No.
So that's kind of an interesting thing. And we've got a question here from Jill. She wants to know, in your budget, how do you handle disagreements on where to put money?
How do you mean where to put money?
I'm thinking she's probably talking about if you're budgeting for, let's say, I don't know, maybe a vacation versus.
It's in the it's a line on the budget. Vacation.
Mhm. Okay, so you guys just sort of
we I think
agree.
the nice thing about Nancy and I is that we're kind of on the same page about what to hit first.
Okay,
First thing you hit is the highest interest, right?
absolutely.
And
Math.
then the one thing, and I don't know who I learned it from at an older age, was that don't blow all your money paying off debt. Pay off the high interest debt, but take what you've got and also put into your retirement savings as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think one of the things in the conversations I had with the guy today with the cousin's son was, he's one of the questions was, do I put it all on debt? And I said no. I said, but that's your choice. The one of the things I find best is, and that what really helped us was that we split it, and it was into the savings account, into debt, and into our
Mhm.
financial retirement.
Yeah, is it interesting thing when people do have a lot of debt? I kind of have two things I will sort of say. First of all, look at your debts. You want to be paying off whichever one has the highest interest rate first, because that's the one that's hurting you the most.
Yeah.
You should also be looking to see if there's any way that you can get a line of credit that's cheaper, that you can
Yeah.
then just pay that off, so that whether you kill a lot of your interest right away.
Yeah.
But I will also say, with some people, they need that psychological victory of paying off a card just to keep themselves motivated. In those, if you're one of those people, then sometimes it is okay to pay a lower one off completely first to
Right.
get that psychological victory. But when you're doing that, you only want to do it maybe once, get your victory, then go right back to that highest interest card to try to get those all taken down. Now we had a good question here by Sandra B. She wanted to know, I don't know if it should be you, but what do you think about joint versus separate finances?
That's a that's a personal choice. I knew that question would come up, and that's a total personal choice. We have nothing to hide from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can log into her client card, she can log into my client card, and we can see whatever we've got in our account. So there's no separation there. Different strokes for different folks, because there are friends of ours who have separate accounts, and it's like the old days when you'd see June Cleaver, she'd put a little bit of money in the coffee can from Ward, and it's like that mentality, and it still exists today, and to each his own. But for Nance and I, we don't operate that way. It's one bank account, and it's two fighting the battle, and there's no secrets.
Yeah.
Except around Christmas time, when
Well, yeah, you kind of have to have a little bit of secrecy around Christmas time.
I want to go back to those credit cards for a minute.
Yeah,
The one
for sure.
thing is that the other thing that you need to do is reduce your credit limit. Like, the banks don't like you going down to $2,500 credit limit. They do not, especially if you're on a platinum Avion or whatever the case is. Oh, what are you going down there for? It's like, what are you trying? You're supposed to be financially helping me, not getting me into debt. I threw it back at them. They shut right up, and they
Yeah,
put it down to $2,500, and that's it. Like so that actually helps in your budgeting if you do that. And you got to tell the bank that do not let a transaction go if it's going to exceed my $2,500, because I didn't learn that. I got a bill in because we made a purchase for, I don't know, the house or something like that. I got the bill, it was $3,000. I'm like, wait a minute.
Holy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 500 over, right? So,
yeah.
And I thought, I told you guys, so I made it quite clear that no, you decline it.
Absolutely. Here's another interesting thing with credit cards. A lot of people don't know this, but if you have, let's say, we'll just use $1,000 just to make it easy to calculate. But if you have $1,000 credit limit and you're constantly at that $1,000, that actually impacts your credit rating. It's something called, I think it's called utility. And what it does is, if you're at the max, it shows that you just don't have really good budgeting, that you're pretty much always needing to borrow money constantly. And for that reason, it does actually knock your rating down a little bit. So I usually say, if you have $1,000 credit card limit, don't let your balance go above, I would say, $750. Stay within about 75%, but never go above that, because that will actually help your credit rating.
Is that the same for credit line? Do they view that in the same lens as they do as a credit card?
I think they probably would do the same thing with a credit line.
Really?
I mean, it's all coming from the bank. So I can't see them having two separate cases, but I would double check on the credit limit. I know 100% on the credit card, but it just logically, to me, they would probably do the same on that credit limit. So look into that for sure.
Interesting.
And one of those things that people don't realize. So where you were saying lower your credit limit, make sure that when you do, if you are regularly always have about $1,000 balance, don't lower it to 1,000, lower it to about maybe 1,250.
That's right.
Instead, just so that you have that empty room to show that you're not using everything that they're offering you, because then it shows that you have more ability to budget your money and to manage it better.
Well, Nancy's train of thought on that is, we would put our credit limit on our credit cards to one paycheck. So if we were ever in doubt, it would just take one paycheck to pay off the balance.
Absolutely. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And ideally, I mean, I will get to the oracle here in a second, but ideally, as investors, what we want to get to a point is where we don't have any balance carrying over, so that you're paying zero interest every month. Because that's the ideal way. Because then what you're going to use your credit card for is you're going to use it for whatever the reward is on it. So you're going to be using your credit card. So let's say the Shake Pay card, for example, you'll just be using that to get your 2% sats back every month. Or if you have, something, let's say if you travel a lot and you just want the air miles. So you want to make sure your card, first of all, has no annual fees, has some kind of reward, and you need to be paying it off before it's due every single month, because you don't want to incur interest on it.
Yep.
So that's kind of a good thing. Now, here's a friggin' oracle. It says, always pay yourself 10% first. And, that is everybody, all of the financial experts say that. Pay yourself first. And that's true. But paying yourself first doesn't mean go out and, just blow it on nothing. There's a lot of ways to pay yourself first that's still productive.
Savings,
whether it's
retirement.
your savings, your retirement,
Yep.
or if you want to invest in yourself by taking a course or something like that to better yourself.
Yep.
Those things are all super, super practical.
And the one thing is that I would always pay I was always the last one to take the slice, because that's just the business side in me, because everyone would get paid first before I do. That was
Right.
just always my business acumen. That's what I do.
Nate says there is the Dave Ramsey approach to pay it all off and use the snowball method. Then there is some of the other guys that say pay some towards debt and some towards investing. It's interesting. Here's one of the things I'll say about that. If you have low interest debt, you're better off to invest the money than to pay off your debt. So let's say, for example, you have a mortgage of 3%. Well, you can easily get a turnaround of, super easy would be 6 to 7%. More like if you know what you're doing, you can easily get a 10% turnaround. And this is not even talking about crypto. We're just talking about straight stock market. So it would make sense, instead of just giving the money back to the bank that would have cost you 3%, you could invest that money and get your 6 to 10%. While you're just, casually in the background making your minimum payments on your mortgage. So it is a good way to go. And there are some people who they've paid off their house, but they'll grab a second mortgage if it's a really, really low interest rate to invest, because they can make a crap load of money doing that. Now, I'm not saying that you guys should all do that, because you want to make sure you know what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, you could create a big hole for yourself. So it's not a recommended thing to do.
Yeah.
But some people do it.
Yeah. And in good times, I find that, and I know when the kids sort of got off the wallet, our wallet, and they would go and they would pay their own credit card off, or they wanted to amalgamate a debt, and I would help them. I'd get on the phone call with the bank with them and stuff like that. I'd be on there, and the bank, whoever it was, would say, "Oh, we can give you an X amount of line of credit and a credit card limit increase of this." And I would pipe in and say, "Why, they don't need that. What's your quota this week?" Like, it's almost, what's your quota? Stop. That's bad investment advice to people. If they want it, they can come and get it. And then they play the old song and dance that, well, if you don't do it now, it's going to be tougher to get approved later. And it's like, I'll take my chance.
Yeah. And Jill says that credit cards are great for larger purchases. I agree 100%. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had this experience, but when I wanted to get my MacBook Pro, it was a $4,000 laptop. I had to call my bank and get permission from my bank. And then they were like, well, we can give you permission for just, a small window. And I'm like, okay, well, they gave me the day. I talked them up to giving me the day. I put my order in, and then Apple didn't bill me that day. I was like, oh my God. So I had to basically call the Bank of Nova Scotia every single day to beg for them to let me use my money to get my laptop.
Yeah.
It was a pain, because sometimes it's like they're almost like they don't want to let you use your money. It's like,
well, and if you've ever, I found that I had a big bill to pay that was over, like, our limit for transfers online, just between, the Interact transfers or sending money and stuff. It's $2,500. And it's like, and I phoned the bank and like, well, I'm like, have you seen my bank account balance? Like, what are you worried about?
Yeah, exactly. Now, we did have Nate actually replied here about the credit, the
So it's
line of
different.
credit. That's good. That's good. See, I didn't know that. That is good. And now Nate's saying as well that even if you use more than 33%, it can on your limit, it can affect you. I've heard about the 75%, I think it's more or less the more you use. I think more than 75, it has a bigger impact. So it's kind of credits one of them weird things. Like, here's this funny thing. I subscribe to one of them free credit things, and they're always sending me my credit information. But even when I pay a bill on time, the fact that that bill has a balance, their balance comes out, I think, the day before it gets reported to the credit agency. So they always look at it as a ding, even though it's just, well, we just issued, you have to pay this by October 24th, for example. But it's like, I'm not late, nothing, but I still get dinged for it. So it's like my credit sort of goes a little seesaw, bing, bing. It's like just because of the way the bank is working with the phone company. I'm like, and the ironic thing is I've never, ever been late in I've had that phone with Bell for like more than 5 years. I've never missed a payment, ever been late. But yet every time they issue my bill, it's like, I'm at the point now, it's like, what do I have to do? Pay everything in advance and maintain a credit enough to cover the next bill? So
Well,
that
you
I
know
don't
what they do is they give you the option. You know how they get around this? They give you the option to have the pre-authorized payment right off your credit card, and it's like I don't want that because I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person I want to see my
Mhm.
invoice.
Oh, yes.
I don't trust you. I'm sorry because I've just got pooched too many times with
Mhm.
where the hell did that charge come from? And like no,
I
don't do
worked.
that. And unless you don't have the discipline, then
Mhm.
only do a prepaid card because you can do it on a prepaid card,
Oh,
but don't do something that if it's going to bounce, let it bounce so you learn your lesson.
oh, yeah. Well, it's funny. I worked for Rogers for about a year. Never understood how I never got fired because they were always trying to pressure me to sell things to people. Sell this, get them on this, get them on this. And I'd be like, if you called me up and you told me what their issue was, I say, yeah, that doesn't sound fair. I'm giving you a credit. I gave away, I think on my team, I gave away more credits than anybody else. But my customer service ratings were through the roof. So
Mhm.
they just couldn't touch me because of that. But they really didn't like it.
No, because they're
Um,
accountable to shareholders, right?
yeah, they are. And I mean, myself in that role, I was accountable to my customer.
Well,
And
that's right. There's two different objectives there. There's the objective of you playing fair, and then there's the objective of the higher up saying my bonus is based on this of how much I don't
mhm,
have to give away. Which is unfortunately it does come down to that, right? I mean, when
it
you
really
get in
does.
the incentives.
I know, absolutely. All right, Sandra B. Yes, it is revolving credit. All right, if you pay your credit card balance every month, does running the balance up every month affect your rating? Um, It really would come down to when that amount is reported to the credit card office. So, the credit card office, the like Telefax and Equinox. So, if it's reported before your payment is due, it could affect you. So, you kind of want to get a general idea. Um,
One of the things that, and I don't know who this person is, but if you have, like for all of my utility bills, etc., I have a heads up of an email. So that helps. Like it because you open that email, it's like, oh, okay, I know I got it, and it's like I pay it now because I know that's coming out like 2 weeks before the due date. So it's like done, 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 done. Don't get the reminder for, oh, you got an interest payment coming off of credit cards, which would probably help out a lot of people, but in hindsight, then Visa and MasterCard aren't making their money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we got, you should pay off all your debts except for those borrowed against assets. Yeah, that makes sense. Like when we're talking about your mortgage, for example, your house is an asset. So, yeah, I mean, it comes down to one type of thing you should always avoid, no matter how bad things get. I never do those payday loan things. They are
No,
absolutely going to take you to the cleaners. Never, never, never.
no.
Quite literally, ask everybody you know to help you out before you turn to somebody like that because the interest rates are just absolutely insane.
I got to go back because I got a connection here. I'm just thinking about is that when you do your budget, the other point of knowing what your budget is to know how much your I guess what you're responsible for on a monthly basis is minus your food and stuff like your other amenities that are like the fringe stuff, and have that in a separate bank account. So if something happens to you, you know because if you don't have mortgage insurance or something like that, mortgage insurance is a joke. I wouldn't be getting that loan protector on the Visa card, on the mortgage, or anything like that. But doing a mortgage also says, look, if I'm out of a job tomorrow and it's going to take me 3 to 6 months, how much do I have to have in the bank to carry me through there so I survive? And number two, I don't kill my credit rating and I don't get my house or something repossessed on me.
Exactly. And that's that emergency fund I've been talking about, people.
Yeah.
Generally, bare minimum, you want 2 months expenses that's in a liquid form that you can access fast. I have sometimes people will ask me about, oh, well, I'll just put it in like, a stable coin so that way there I can earn some interest on it. Well, that's okay if you can get it fast. But here's the thing. When you need to get an emergency fast, let's say, for example, in the middle of winter, your house burns down and you've got to take your family and put them in a hotel. You may need money like really fast. So that's why I always say put it in something you can move it out of quickly if you need it. I like EQ Bank only because they have a little bit better interest rate than your traditional banks. I think there's also Neo. I think Neo also has a pretty good interest rate as well. So there's different places you can put that money. But bare minimum, have 2 months. And then I usually say in your budget, add a line in your budget where you're adding some money to that each month with a goal to try to maybe get it up to 6 months. If you look at Nate Palmetier, his goal this year is to get it up to a 1-year emergency fund, which would be very impressive. So it's always good that way because that gives you agility when things do go wrong, which is really, really good. All right. And all your companies report credit every 30 days. Yeah, every 30 days. It just depends on where that 30 days lines up with your bill. So that's kind of that thing. If you're lucky, because a lot of times too, like cell phones, things like that, they try to spread the customers out over the calendar year because it takes a lot of pressure off of them. So you can just be really unlucky and have your bill come out like the day before it gets reported to the credit agency, in which case you pretty much, you kind of don't have a lot of room to work with in that case.
I forgot to say, I'm thinking of things as we're talking here, going back to the budget and stuff and how we kind of got ourselves back on track. And I remember taking whatever we could set up as I'm not going to call it, I guess, a pre-authorized payment or something that you could put money on, but you could set it up as your payees in your bank account, right? And I would go back and I'd look at all the utilities, for example, and I'd say, okay, yearly, this is what it's going to cost me. What is this per paycheck? And I would take it down. So one would be 25 and I would just shoot it. It would just go, I'd get paid on a Friday at 2 a.m. in the morning. And when I woke up, that's what I had in my bank account, but everything else had been paid. I'd made I got myself caught up before I started it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the utilities or on the credit card, and I just had it go out as a payee. So it was like, at least I was paying something. And it worked out fine.
Well, that's good.
It's not as much of a hit and a blow when you do it that way. And that was starting of the discipline. And then eventually it just got to a point where it's like, I'm cool. We've recouped and we're good,
Absolutely. And now the friggin' Oracle here says, I have my cell phones come off credit card every month, but my bill is the same every month, no overage charges. That's always good. If you know your bill's going to be the same, it's usually not too bad. I still say, check, make sure you're watching it because they make mistakes. Having worked for them, they make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So it does happen. That was the friggin' Oracle. And he says, I built my credit by charging 5,000 to 6,000 every month on my CC and paying off my credit score skyrocketed. And that's awesome. And that's the thing. If you're using the card, but you're paying it off, that looks pretty darn good for the credit agency company.
We know 2 people that travel a lot. So they live off their credit card, but every month they pay it off. And that's their 2 vacations a year.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you guys something that I probably shouldn't tell you guys, but I'll tell you guys anyway. If you're ever dealing with let's say something went default, like you defaulted on something and you got a collection agency after you, here's the issue. If you've ever in that situation, even let's say a year's gone by, and you contact the collection agency and pay them all in full. The problem is at that point, because when you go to a collection agency, the company who you owed the money to, they've already written it off. They've sold it to the collection agency for pennies on the dollar. And at that point, if you were to a year later finally say, oh, you know what, I'm going to pay them, and you pay them, then from that point that you paid them, it'll stay on your credit report for 6 years. Whereas if you hadn't paid them, you had already served a year and it would have come off in 5 years. So it's just one of those weird things with the way credit works. So it's at the point that if I ever had a collection agency coming after me for something, I'm not going to pay them because it's only going to keep it on my credit report a lot longer than, if I didn't. So it's one of those things. I'm not suggesting that you guys do this, but it's just that's the way the mechanics work. And it's good to be aware of that and then make your own decisions based on that. Obviously, the best decision is to never get yourself into that situation. But, I understand that for some people, they just have no choice. It does happen. All right. And we got Jill, a question here. How do you deal with one partner if they make significantly larger salary?
I don't understand the question. Because
I think
Jill, coming from me, it's all for one and all. There's no issue because Nancy is roles are reversed now, and for reasons because we've got investment, so I take the investment hit and stuff like that. But Nancy's got the bigger T4 than I do, way bigger, and I don't understand the question because it really isn't an issue with us. You know what I mean? Like,
I've known situations where one person has
make her coffee in the morning,
made a lot more, and because they make more, they think they have more say over the entire financial.
And you would probably, in that instance, you would probably see that those people have separate bank accounts.
Yeah, they probably would in those cases.
I'm not built that way. We're not built that way. We're lucky to have a relationship that way.
Well, exactly. Jason's piping in here on the payday loans. They put me into a consumer proposal, learned my lesson 12 years later. I have 840 score and own my first house. Awesome, Jason.
Yep, good for you.
Those payday loans, they're almost designed to keep you trapped because once you take one, your next pay is pretty much scorched because of it and the high interest you're paying.
Well,
you run out of money and you have to take another one. That's how they kind of.
Yeah, they're the countertop or what is it? The counter service drug dealer, neighborhood drug dealer for what you're doing. You can always go back and get your fix. You know what I mean? And no questions asked.
They're legal loan sharks. That's pretty much what
Correct.
they are.
Yeah. They're the over-the-counter legalized whatever.
And that's what my emergency credit card is for. I have 2 at zero balance for just in case. Okay, so that's his emergency fund as a credit card. I would still recommend having not credit as an emergency fund, but to have actual cash. Because to me, that just makes a little more sense because you don't want to be going into debt when you're in a crisis. I just wish everything you have learned about money in the past 3 years I knew 20 years ago. Yeah,
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
I think we're all that way. And that's the goal, of this whole community between myself, Rye, and the Danters is that we want to provide that education. So those of you who are lucky enough to come into the community, if you haven't learned the lessons yet, you're learning them now because there's no time better than the present to bring yourself up to speed. Emergency funds, it's also wise to each have a non-joint bank account so you have access to funds when that time comes because banks will freeze all assets and faculties or facilities. Okay. I'm not sure why they're going to do that. You might need to give us a little bit of more information on that, Sandra.
Maybe in death, but
maybe
that's what a will's for.
Or maybe if your husband's like a major mob person, they might.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but if you want to just readdress us, we will definitely answer it. But this did kind of think of one thing. if you're in that situation, let's say, for example, oh, she is talking about death. Okay, so let's go back to death for a moment.
Yeah, so that's why you need a good will. That's why you need to have. That's why you need to structure it so that you have beneficiaries, because you can do beneficiary even with BlockFi. BlockFi, I'm just like as I'm doing my taxes and stuff for crypto. You can have beneficiaries, so you can sidestep that. You can put people on account, like my utilities. I got people on account that it doesn't have to be me, so it can keep going. You know what I mean? They don't. Bell doesn't know if I'm dead or not. You know,
Yeah.
or Rogers or whoever doesn't know if I'm dead. The bank, maybe.
And
But that's what my legal will's for.
and here's the other interesting thing. Your TFSA, you can actually transfer that to a spouse when you pass. There's actually it's an interesting it's kind of a hack, TFSA hack, where when you if you have a much younger partner, you could technically transfer it to them, and it would join into theirs. They would gain all of this extra contribution room. And then when they got older, if they had a new husband or wife or whatever, who was much younger, and they transferred it, you could continually do that and actually end up with this giant TFSA after a couple of generations. That was like millions of dollars. I mean, it's kind of insane, but it's something that can happen. But it involves a lot of December, August romances. Okay. Oh, what was I going to mention? Oh, that one other thing I was going to mention is if you're in a really unlikely situation where, well, I don't want to say unlikely. If you're ever in the horrific situation where, like, you've got some kind of spousal abuse or something, then yeah, you probably want to move some money to some kind of a separate thing, just in case it ever does get bad, that you need an exit strategy from the whole situation. Hopefully none of you are in that situation, but that would be another little separate thing that I would definitely think would be very viable, because it does happen. All right.
And I don't know. Is it 6 years living together is considered common law? Or
I
3?
I thought it was 3.
Okay. See, and
But
I don't know if people, if a lot of the like, I don't know if my daughter gets that. Not to say that there's anything wrong with her and her current situation, but I just don't know that the younger generation, maybe even some people in the community understand that too. So it's like you're kind of in the law viewed as
yeah,
a couple.
And common law status
And to
has.
answer the question, just before it comes out in the community, I did not have a prenuptial, nor did she.
Okay, fair enough. Our youngest member, SM, is hey, I just joined as we were finishing eating. Awesomeness.
What were you eating, SM?
This is an excellent topic. I'm excited.
Take notes, my friend.
Absolutely. Always take
We're
notes.
giving you good advice, Grasshopper.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing with finances. And that's what I think everybody in the community is probably jealous of SM, because he is, he's just coming out of, well, he's still in high school, and he's coming into the game with all of this knowledge. That's just going to be fantastic. If I had the knowledge that Sean here is having, that I would be like absolutely filthy rich right now if I had that knowledge coming out of high school. So, he's going to be a leading industry person. He's just going to have a ton of money.
Just protect it and be sensible.
Maybe
Never let
he'll
it
be
go.
well, he might just be the Warren Buffett of the next generation. We don't know this yet, but I find that just fantastic.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those interesting things. I was thinking this. My mind is still stuck on the whole if somebody's making significantly more than the other person, because it always seems to work that way, and I guess I subscribe to keeping everything all in one big pot. But then what about when it comes to actual discretionary income? Like, if you want to go out and buy something that's expensive, because if you're the big a salary person, does that give you more right to it than the other person? Or, how do you compromise that?
Well, there's two trains of thoughts. There's always, ask for forgiveness as opposed to permission.
Mhm. Yeah,
And the other option is, hey, look, do you mind if I spend the money on this?
yeah. That
That I've taken both approaches in the 31 years.
has the have they both
Little
worked
story,
well, or
biggest first lesson, first married and stuff like this. And do you remember Granada TV, rent to
yeah,
own?
yeah.
Okay. I had never had a honking monster stereo system in my life. And yeah, Nancy came home one day and it's like, yeah, there it was in the basement. And she freaked out. And to this day, will never let me live that down. It's like, okay, I got it. And of course, far be it for me to ever, counter that with something she's done, because that's just
Mhm.
doesn't end well.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand. I'm more the type that if my partner were to buy something really expensive, then I'd be like, I'll just think of what expensive thing I want, and then somewhere's down the road, I'll just use that as my leverage point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we've just learned to just say, look, do you mind if I buy this? And I'm the type of guy that will check my account balances and Visa every other day.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes I'll come across a charge and I'm on the text to her, or I'm saying, hey, did you? She goes, yeah. I said, okay. She goes, is that okay? I was like, of course, but I need to know so we're not getting scammed or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes sense. I mean, you should be watching your finances. And here's the freaking oracle saying, is it a need or a want? And that sometimes does definitely play a role. I know usually the bigger things that I want are more needs than wants. Like, like my laptop was last huge purchase, and that was a need because I wanted to do YouTube and I needed something that had the juice to do my editing.
Right.
So that makes sense. If you can actually sort of say, especially if you're also running a small business, then things that you're buying for the business, they're really not, they're not even negotiable at that point because, a lot of them, if you've actually got a small business, you can write off a lot of those expenses. And it's one of those things, if you are working from home for any reason, you can register yourself as a business. And it's probably a wise thing to do because then you have the options to start writing off a lot of different stuff. Now, because of the illness, there are a lot of credits out there as well for people who have had to work at home. So there are credits you can get towards some of your office expenses from your home office. So you may want to look into some of that too if you're currently working from home.
Yeah, the one thing that I'll just kind of mention too is that it doesn't I don't know that that works all the time of creating yourself as your own business if you work from home, given the point that there's a little form called a T2200. And if you're working from home and your company issues one of those, and they don't check off that stupid little box, you know what I mean? There's a box on there that says this is out of pocket. And they say, no, we've provided you with everything. You can't write certain
Right.
stuff off.
Right, but keep in mind too, maybe I'm just gonna clarify what I was saying. When I was talking about work at home at that point, I always meant you were working from home for yourself, not
Oh, sorry. Okay.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I meant. And then I started talking about people who are working at home from their offices. Those are the ones you should be looking at the credit. If you've got your own business, if you're sort of your own boss doing something from home, then you definitely want to look into
Oh, yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
business because there's just so much you can, write off.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And I look at it this way: that anything you can write off and not pay in taxes, is a good thing. That we're all over tax, so that's not one of those things that we want. And we got Bleak in the house. Hey, Bleak, welcome. So that's kind of cool. Oh, excuse me.
Am I keeping you up?
No. It's just one of those. It's one of those days. It's actually been a long day.
Oh, has it?
Well, I got up. I had to script my keto video, And then I had to come up with 4 different ideas for shorts because I do a short on each channel every day.
Yeah.
So, and I like to film my shorts in little batches because it sucks to set up everything and just to film a short on a day. So tomorrow, for example, I've already got my short done for tomorrow and Monday, and then on Monday when I film my next video for this channel, then I'll make up a couple more. I'll probably do about 6 shorts because then that way I won't have to film
Jesus.
shorts again until Thursday. So,
So do you do your shorts in one shot, or do you go back and edit them?
Well, there's a little bit of editing, but I try to keep no breaks in the text part because where you've got 60 seconds, you want it nice and smooth.
Yeah.
So, and where it's only 60 seconds, it's like I've got my teleprompter going and I can just sort of just try to read it out. And if I make a mistake, I just start over.
Right.
It might take me, sometimes I get it on the first time. Sometimes it takes me 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
Sometimes it's as simple as Blaze starts meowing at me and it's like, okay, I got to start over. But yeah, the shorts are actually pretty darn easy compared to the editing that,
Oh, I
you know,
agree. I agree. It's if I can jam something out in 58 seconds and I, it still took me because I'd have to do an intro and an extra, and it's like, no, to hell with this. Boom.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
The toughest part is the thumbnail.
well, and that's the whole thing. I haven't been doing thumbnails for my shorts, but I've been thinking about it because where I've just called all my shorts for this channel it's just called Now You Know, and then the topic. So I could create probably a generic title card for those with Now You Know, and then just the topic of whatever written underneath, and just change the topic for each one. So I'm thinking about doing that, but
What's everyone else doing for shorts? Are they doing thumb? I'm trying to think back to when I
I
see a
don't
short.
I don't know. A lot of people don't do thumbnails.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I don't think Nate does a thumbnail. Nate, you'll have to tell us if you do or not.
I think because YouTube will default it to like a frame of your short.
Yeah, and it's not a bad frame because it's a frame of your short, and then behind it is the rest of it, so it kind of looks kind of cool. But that's one of those interesting things. It would be whether or not I do it or do that or not. But here's the crazy thing: my keto shorts, they've been getting a lot more traction. I've been like, whoa, because I know I think I've had 2 of them now break 1,000 views, and it usually comes 3 days after I publish the short. So it's like, oh, okay.
Well, it's who was it? Ken was saying, I think it was last night, that it's crypto is not as much of a topic as finance and diet or health.
Right. Although,
So,
and this is really interesting. When you look at advertisements and things on crypto and on finance opposed to health, you actually make more money per 1,000 views in finance than you're going to make in like fitness or keto or diet nutrition. So you get paid more, but yet there's probably a lot more traffic in in the other genre. So, but it's
we could always make a channel, call it cash, calories, and crypto.
there we go. Try to hit both at the same time. But no, it makes sense because you have to look at the target audience. Like the target
Yeah.
audience of this type of content are usually investors. Investors have deeper pockets normally. Hence, the more high-end companies are the ones who are interested in, their viewing eyes so they can get their advertisements out. So they're willing to pay more. That's basically what it boils down to. So it's kind of interesting. Something here from Jill. I think the fact that Tim and Nancy are open and on the same page when it comes to finances has probably helped them stay together for 31 years. Definitely some inspiration. Oh, there you go. I would, yeah, I would agree. I think that's the whole thing. If you have a lot of transparency within a relationship, I think that will help the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And just to realize that relationships are just not perfect.
Nope.
So that's kind of that thing. I agree, Jill. Finances is one of the bigger tensions in a relationship. My wife and I have been together for 17 years now, and money is one of those conversations you need to be on the same page. Absolutely. Because, yeah, I mean, if one of the partners is really frugal and good with finances and the other one is just a sieve, I can see there being tension there from that. But,
We,
or an
and
opportunity to
I'm
bring the other
sure
one.
we all have people that we're associated with where we hear the stories of, so and so in the relationship is a tightwad, and it just bothers me, and you know what I mean, and you listen to more of it, and it's like, then it kind of goes into, yeah, and their marriage doesn't sound like it's that strong either, and the relationship, you know what I mean, you could just
Mhm.
listen to the stuff go down, and it all seems to stem with trusting each other, and just, this is why, isn't this why you got married, like all for one and one for all?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
maybe I'm just a traditional guy, kind of guy, that just, that's the way it is, that's the way it's supposed to be, or that's the way I've been brought up.
Uh-huh. Max says, I'm moving to the Ukraine until we stop the unjust seatbelt mandates. Seatbelts kill. It's a fact. My choice, my body. Enjoy the pierogies, Max. Enjoy the pierogies.
Not pierogies were Polish.
Another Ukrainian. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure. I think sausage. Polish. I think the Polish have sausage, maybe.
yeah, the Polish have sausage. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not going to really address that one because so random Max, so do cigarettes and alcohol. There we
And
go.
bullets.
There we go. And all right,
Thanks.
perfect. Yeah, I love pierogies.
Mm.
I think technically pierogies are actually Polish. Oh, there we go. See, I just assumed they were Ukrainian because that's all I had ever heard. But if they are Polish, then good call, Tim. Good call. I can't have pierogies because I'm on keto, so but they're
Is that
okay.
going well for you?
Oh yeah, it's going well. The weight loss has slowed down a little bit, but
Hmm. It does. On
it
keto,
does.
it does. Yeah, you don't get discouraged. It's
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, that's one of the things I preach on the channel too, is that sometimes it's not about weight loss, it's actually about fat loss. So and there's can be a difference because I mean weight is simply the attraction between your body and the earth. It's a thing of gravity. So if you are doing keto and you're starting to exercise and your muscles are toning, all of a sudden your muscles are weighing more. So and that's not the scale doesn't sort of say, oh well, yeah, you lost 1 pound this week. It's not saying, oh, you lost 1 pound, but you gained a couple pounds of muscle. So technically you lost 3 pounds. So it doesn't tell you this.
no.
So it's one of those interesting things. And that's one of those things that so many people I find you get these dieters who look at the scale every single day. It's sort of the same. It's kind of like that person who looks at Bitcoin's price every minute. Did it go up? Did it go up?
Yeah. And
Um,
when do you step on the scale? What part of the day do you step on the scale?
me, this is
No,
what
no,
I
no.
always,
What traditionally, when do you think people step on the scale?
um,
Morning, noon, night.
I think most people do it at night.
Really?
I think, but I do it in the morning myself.
I do it in the morning too. Sorry, don't mean to get too descriptive, but as soon as I've
Yeah.
gone to the washroom
Yeah.
and I get on, and why do you want to start your day off if that scale isn't giving you the information you want to see that way?
Yeah. Well, exactly. And here's the thing.
Once a week. I was religious with
Yeah.
when I was on the keto. It was like, oh, what did I eat?
Yeah. No, I do it once a week, Saturday morning. And that's because I have to post my weight online, so I can't
Oh, okay.
it's one of those things like, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are heavier that would be like, oh my God, I could never post how much I weigh online. It would be so embarrassing. And I'm like, well, yeah, but embarrassment to one might be inspiration to somebody else.
Correct. Correct.
So sometimes you gotta step up. You gotta take your hits to your chin, especially if you've taken a hit to the chin because somebody calls you fat or something. Um, I would rather stand in front of a group of people and have 100 people call me names and call me fat and use whatever language they want, than for one person who couldn't take it to have them yelled at that way.
Mm.
So that's kind of the way I look at it. Oh, look at this. I think. Oh no.
So we've got two
Oh.
things here. I just want to go back just to grab it. First of all, I think we might have missed it, and it's Karen McDonald's the first time viewer here. So welcome, Karen.
Karen is awesome. She I see her a lot on our good buddy Ken's show.
He's a hybrid, of course, because Ken's going on after this, right?
I believe he is. All right, let's catch up to you very quickly.
And then so yeah, that's the other one I was going to go back to. So it depends on what we're spending it on. If it's, I do not ask Nancy. I don't spend my money on clothes. I wear the same clothes, and I'll wear it and wear it and wear it and wear it and wear it, and it drives her absolutely batty.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it might be me.
Now here, let me ask you this: how often does she buy you clothes just to get you to wear something different?
She tries to. She honestly does. She's very good that way, and she means it in all due, in a loving way and in a respectful way and stuff like that. She just, you need something, you never buy yourself anything. And it's like, I'm good. I just it works, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need a lot of closet space.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you know, I look at it this way. I have my kick around clothes for when I'm, you know, just doing something at home. I'm not really. Then I have the things I wear when I'm on, you know, on videos and things like that. And then I have the things I wear when I go outside. So I try to keep it a little bit separate, kind of one of those things. Like, it's like, I'm not going to wear my best clothes around the house when I'm doing something that, you know, where I could spill something on it or, you know, something like that. So it's kind of that way. But, and sometimes it's just, you get those comfortable clothes, you know, you just like, whether they be your favorite, you know, yeah.
You see in that red hoodie more than anything, that red little hoodie, and it's like, it's so comfortable, and you know, it's like pajama bottoms, because no one sees you from the waist down or from here down, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, like I'm wearing my indoor leggings from the waist down, which is kind of cool. And it was actually really something. There was something I was going to say about Karen here, and I think I missed it. That was one of her responses here. Let me see if I can find it. This one down here. She gave a virtual hug. I took a glance at that, Karen, no word of a lie. And at first I thought it was a bot.
I did too.
Because it had like a B and dots.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's like,
that one of them dots? And I was like, wait a minute, no, virtual hug.
That's not a little link shoe.
So that is actually really, really fun. And Nate up here said that it is nice to have you. Yeah, I love seeing new people here. So it's wonderful to see you here tonight, Karen. All right, morning, I say. Hey, see, everybody loves Karen. Karen, you are loved. The whole community is in here for you.
Look at that.
Pretty good. And, you know, and that's the thing. I mean, Karen has shared that she's, you know, she's having a rough time lately. So I'm just glad that the community really has responded to her and shown that, you know, showing that there is a lot of love amongst all of us. And that to me is just fantastic.
Yep.
And Max, I think Max really likes Karen. I'm the same with clothes, Tim. There we go. I've seen Candace on other podcasts. I get around. I really do. Thanks, Candace. And Jill's reminding everybody to hit
the like and subscribe button, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. How am I ever going to catch the Danters if you guys don't do that?
Easily.
I don't know. Actually, it's going to be hard. It's hard to keep up with Nate. Nate's just doing fantastic.
He's rocking and rolling, eh?
He is, but he has a fantastic show. So his quality is just out to lunch.
Yeah.
You know, go to Nate if you want high quality. Come to me if you want the quirkiness, because I'm quirky. That's just my thing. I got the quirkiness going down.
And if you want the commercials, you can come to our station.
Exactly. I'm like you. I wear clothes until they fall apart.
Yep.
And
That's
here's
what they're meant for. Well, in my opinion, that's what they're meant for.
here's the funny thing with me is sometimes I'll wear something until it's ready to fall apart, and then I'll see if I can find the exact same thing again.
Oh yeah, no, no.
So I will do that.
No, by that time it's a new decade, so we got to change.
Yeah, and Nate's thanking everybody, and he loves the channel, and that's awesome. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And that's one of the things, and this is one of the things I love about this community. Like me and Nate are neck and neck as we're sort of running along, and there's no animosity. It's like I'm supporting him as much as he's supporting me, and to me, that's just fantastic. I've seen channels where people get like almost like, oh, why are they doing so good? I need to beat them. Here now, we're all a team, and the way I look at it is when anybody in our community succeeds, we're all succeeding. So that to me is just absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And Karen is a little bit sneaky. All my hoodies have broken zippers, but I still wear them. But here's the thing, Ken, you can actually take those into like a tailor and they could probably fix the zippers for you.
Yep.
And you could get more life out of it if you really want to.
A Stitch It.
A stitcher, absolutely.
No, Stitch It. That's the franchise. Stitch It.
Stitch. Oh, that's the franchise itself.
Stitch It. Yeah, they're in the malls.
I did not know about Stitch It. Okay, that's kind of cool. Now just do your thing and show some love. Absolutely. Absolutely. I go for surgery in 3 months. Yeah, and that's what Karen's been talking about. So hopefully that goes well for you. And Karen, I know that we've all covered this on I think Nate's channel, but your mindset is really your greatest weapon when it comes to something like that. You know what? Go in there with a positive mindset. Do whatever it takes, even if you have to do something silly like meditate or something just to get yourself feeling better. Do it. Go in with a positive mindset. Go in convinced that, this is going to work. This is going to be great. I'm going to kick this in the butt and I'm going to come out stronger than ever. A lot of people who do that, they actually do, because your mind is so powerful and it can really influence you in ways that science doesn't even fully understand it, to be honest. And it's one of those great things. It's one of the reasons, if you've heard of the placebos work because we believe that they work. We don't realize they're a placebo, and so we believe it works, hence it does. That's the reason we get the placebo effect. It's just a sort of a reflection of that. So your mindset, huge. It should be your number one tool on your tool belt for everything, really, to be honest. We got Jill. If anybody is not part of the newsletter, Candace puts in information each week that aren't part of the videos. That's right, absolutely.
Every Monday, right?
I put out a newsletter. It comes out every Monday, and I throw some exclusive content in there. So basically, what the newsletter will be is it'll tell you all of the videos that came out during that week. So if you missed one and there's one you're interested in, you can just click. It'll take you right to YouTube. But I also started off with just something exclusive for the newsletter people. Last week was my buys, and I explained why I bought what I bought. The week before that, it was it was TA. It was my big Bitcoin channel that, I put that out when everybody said Bitcoin was going below and going down, and look at what happened since that happened. So it's one of those neat things. It's a way to get some exclusive content. I'm always looking to find ways to branch beyond YouTube, because I love YouTube, but I want to be able to give content across a wider avenue of things. So the newsletter is one. Newsletter is absolutely free. I do have a Patreon. Nobody's joined up yet. That's cool. Actually, I think part of the reason nobody's joined up for is when I was setting my tiers, I just wanted the basic tier, like $5 a month, but I didn't realize it was American. So I put in $5 and it was telling people it was 7 something. And it's like, well, why would somebody pay 7 something to join that? That's ridiculous. So I've actually fixed that. So all of the tiers are now in, where they should be in Canadian. So I think it'll charge you $3.50 American now for the $5 tier, something like that. But I think it'll show you $5. So I am looking forward to putting some, actually, I want to start putting some crypto content in there once I get get a few folks in there. The way I look at it this way, I get one person in there, I'm going to start pumping the content for them, because I want, it doesn't matter to me if it's 1 or 1 million people, they're going to get their money's worth if they jump in on that. But now I'm turning into a commercial. I don't want to turn into a commercial. Let's see here, and let's see. Oh, there we go. And now this is where we were. I see you on Nay's a lot. Yeah, I like to stop in on Nay. Now, Nay is one of these guys. Some people will look at Nay and they might judge him because he sort of looks. He's kind of got that hippie look to him and everything. But he's a hell of a nice guy, and he's really smart.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's one of the things. I always strongly believe that you should never ever judge a book by the cover. And it's so true. And Nay's a great example of that. Don't judge Nay, just get in, listen to him, listen to,
Yeah, I mean, it does. I think, Candace, no matter what, whether they tune into our channel, whether they tune into Nay's channel, Rye's channel, Nate's channel, you're going to hear something that doesn't rub everyone the right way, right? And that's what makes the channel, right? And it's you've got to be open to the fact of just listening to where people are coming from and why they're bringing it up, and then make a decision. Or then it's not like you can phone Nay up and argue with him, because it's just it doesn't work that way. It's just you've tuned in for a reason, and it's to get different opinions. It's and that's what we need. If we go too much one side and just drink the Kool-Aid that's only one flavor, that's not good for your health.
No, exactly. And Nate here saying, yeah, meditation is good. Positivity is a huge force. So many people that have hope outlast those that lose hope. Big reason so many elderly are having a hard time right now being shut in. Absolutely. And an interesting thing, I mean, Nay's a minister, so, he's very spiritual. But one of the big reasons, in my opinion, that religion works is religion helps you to focus your mind. It does help you to do things like meditate. And that to me is that power. Because when some people say, do you feel the power of the Lord? Well, that may just be the focusing, or it may be the Lord. I don't know. But it may just be you focusing on yourself, focusing on getting better, focusing on moving forward. And all of that positivity is going to help you one way or another. And you can attribute to the Lord, the Holy Ghost, or to banana bread if you want to, as long as it works. That's the way I look at it. And of course, I respect everybody's opinion. So even the buy the dip opinion of Max. And here's Scott. Scott saying, last newsletter was good. Enjoyed seeing the buys. Absolutely. I love Scott. Scott has a fantastic.
I got a question for you. What I was watching last week, this week, something. Whatever happened to? I see all the stuff going on about, and this is totally off topic. Meet Kevin. What did he do? Where did he go? What happened?
That's a really.
Or are you allowed to say? If you're not allowed to say, then don't say it, because I'm just seeing all these comments. I'm going, I've missed something? Obviously,
it's not that I'm not allowed to say it. It's I don't think I have the full picture.
Okay, fair enough. Move on.
Yeah, it's one of these things that I can tell you what I do know. I know that he had made some really bad choices, thinking the market was going to go down. That was right around the time I was saying the market was about to go up. Just to that sounds like I'm tooting my horn, but I'm not. He made some bad decisions then, and I think it cost him a lot. And I think it sounds like he may be cracking a little bit under the pressure, but I don't know if he has quit or there's rumors of things like that. Probably the best thing to do would be just to go to his channel and see if you can piece some stuff together.
Right.
Or if you follow any of his friends like Graham Stephan or the Iced Coffee Hour, I think it's called. I'm sure they're going to address it probably soon, and you might be able to get a little bit more of an inside scoop from those guys, because they're all pretty close.
No, I've never watched the guy,
Yeah.
but I know that there's been references made by some of us in our tight knit community here, and then all of a sudden it was just. And I started seeing all this stuff that he's gone. He's made a fool of him. I thought, what could he have done that was so bad? But anyway, that's okay. That's okay.
Exactly. It's one of these things where I'm not going to say that, he did A or B unless I know he did A or B.
No, you don't. No, you don't need to. I didn't want to.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. What a great idea! I should do some email stuff. That's it, Nate. I copied you with the shorts, so you should make an email list, Nate. I'll join. I'll be your first person.
Nate doesn't have enough to do.
No, he's only got 10 kids. I mean, maybe if you had 11 kids, I'd be like, don't do an email list, but you've only got 10.
Yeah, he's got a house that he's putting together, you know.
A farm,
He
all
hasn't got
that
enough.
fun stuff.
He needs to do more. Nate, you're a slacker.
All right. And Max says, I'm going to buy after the U.S. interest rate meeting on Monday. That should be an interesting meeting because I know it was announced on Friday as an emergency meeting.
Wait a minute. I thought they already had that meeting.
This is another meeting. Apparently, there's an emergency meeting on Monday. It's one of the reasons some of the prices started falling a little bit on at the end of Friday because this got announced, and so it caused a little bit of a jitter in the market. But unless something drastic is happening in this meeting, it's one of these things. I just hate how they. It's almost like the Fed themselves. They announce it in such a way that it creates fear on purpose.
Well, it's like the coach calling you into his office, going, "I need to have a word with you." And it's like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah, or saying, "I need to have a serious word with you."
Yeah.
In this
when
case,
you got him over, I want to address something with you. It's like, what do you want to address?
Exactly. So it'd be interesting to see what happens on Monday. But I've learned enough about watching the Fed that I don't panic until I actually get the news. Actually, the actual information. Like, let's find out the reveal first. Welcome back, Karen. She was on the phone. Please look into Celsius networks. I will look into the Celsius network. It's not a bad network.
Nate preaches about that left and right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Jill is pumping next week's show. Next week we have Gary. Gary's going to be on the show next week, folks. We're going to be talking with side hustles. Gary he's really good with his side hustles. I think he's going to have some excellent insight on the side hustles next week. So I'm looking forward to having Gary. It could be the best show of the year. You don't know. It could be. So Gary is awesome. All right. Thanks for letting me vent. Absolutely. You know what? You can vent here. You're on my Facebook group. You can vent there. Heck, you can even vent on one of my videos because I answer everything. We got Nate. That will be exciting with Gary. Absolutely. And Verena says too. So true. Verena. I'm always conscious because I know I'm horrible at pronouncing names, and I really, because everybody's favorite sound is their own name, so I try to get it right.
Say that again.
Everybody's favorite word is their own name, so I always try to get that right, even on a psychological level.
I don't get Ken though.
Tim, you're Tim. I know. That's hilarious. All right, and Karen has cirrhosis. I assume that's it's never a good thing like that. But the bright side is the liver tends to be one of the more resilient organs. Like you can remove half of the liver and it will actually grow back. There's no other organs that will do that. So that's kind of a really cool thing about the liver.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's one of the reasons that you can slice off a part of somebody's liver and transplant it into somebody else. Like if they're a close relative, if they're a match, they can do that.
Interesting.
You won't get the whole thing back, but you'll get a lot of it will grow back. It's kind of cool.
Okay.
I just wish it was real. Okay. And Nate was here again. He just did a video with a clown wig on today. It was strange. Maybe he is cracked. Yeah, that is. Oh man, I've missed a few comments here.
Oh, it's Meet Kevin. Meet Kevin.
Yeah. Oh, I missed a lot of comments, folks. How did this happen?
Christine.
All right.
Christine.
We're talking about cirrhosis, and I just wish it was real. Are you going to ask Jesus to smash like again? Yes, I am. So I did this thing with Nate.
Now, if only Jesus could just, spread it amongst his community to hit the like and subscribe. We'd be cooking with peanut oil.
Yeah, only because Nate's a preacher. I will do this again. So this is my version of a YouTube preacher. Feel the power, folks. Feel the power. When you click on that like, it feels so good. The
Oh.
Lord blesses you in many, many ways. Click on the like.
And Candace, if you look behind you, there's the line.
I know. It's just, it's actually funny. Freedom Convoy.
I'm confused with Christine. Is it Christine or is it Ryan? Sorry, on my mom's laptop, Rye. Okay, I got it. That's you
okay.
know what? That's as bad, Ryan, as us screwing with people going on as Tim and Nancy Danter and as Tim Danter in the chat, and everyone gets mixed up with that. I'm glad you've learned. See, he's getting it now. He's getting my lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're almost caught up here, folks. He last time's all gone to private members only. Oh, well, interesting.
Ooh.
He sold out in a 48-hour period. Was a weird one. Ryan. Okay, thank you, Ryan. It's good to know. Here, I just thought Christine was being very active. He just did a video with a clown wig on. We already heard that. And Monday, he was buy the dip. Wednesday, he sold the whole portfolio. Weird 180 with no information. He got hassled for it big time. Yeah, and see, Ryan, I don't mind reading his stuff because I know that Ryan's been following this.
Right.
I watch Meet Kevin every day. I don't think he did anything wrong. He just got spooked and took profits. Yeah, and you know what? It's one of those things. No matter how good you are in the market, you're gonna make mistakes, and he just made a big one. So sometimes it's how you respond to that. Not exact timing, of course. Here we go. You have your first Patreon member. Okay, cool. I live with you, Jill. I don't know if I want to make content for you, but no, I'll make content for you. I think people with 50 to 250K have no idea what we would do with 20 million. I don't blame Kevin, but I was curious to say the least. Yeah, and that makes sense. Sometimes as well, I've noticed this when you're investing. I mean, a lot of times you just see the numbers, and you're not even feeling like you're actually playing with the real money.
No.
So you got to kind of keep that always in mind and be sort of cognizant. Like, it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to throw 100,000 here, 100,000 there. Well, if you have that amount of money, that's a lot of money to be throwing around. So you want to be, when we talk about due diligence, you want to do due diligence with capital D's, double D's, so doing diligence. Okay, that's weird. And I like the word Seven. Celsius just added Solano. I instaked everything in my Phantom wallet and moved it to Celsius. And what is your Facebook group? Candace. My Facebook group is called
Mountain Financial. Isn't it Mountain Financial?
Mountain Finance.
Finance,
yeah. So Mountain Finance. Just do a search on Mountain Finance. We'll love to have you over there. And that's
Karen, it will pique your interest.
It will, absolutely. And I'll tell you guys, those of you who are already on the Facebook group, use it as much as you want to. If you guys have questions, throw them in there. I do not mind doing the answering. And I'm even of the case, like if you have something you want to share, like a link or something, if it's finance related and it's not like a self-promotion, do it. And if it's a self-promotion, just say, hey, Candace, can I promote this on the site? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. I mean, I let Nate promote all the time because, he's awesome. And I know his content is really good. Because we all are a giant team, and it makes sense to me. Like if I have, even myself, if I make a video that is super highly, I know that like Tim's core group is going to love it. I'll post it over there just because I know that content is for them. Now, I probably wouldn't post it on Ryan's because, there's more stock market people on Ryan's. But if I found something, for example, like I posted about the taxes over there on Ryan's the other day for the simple reason that I know Ryan's isn't going to cover it. And I know you guys are in that boat where you probably are starting to think about the taxes. So that's kind of the way. And I think it goes all the way across. Like I'm totally like, I mean, Ryan can post on mine and Tim and Nancy can post on mine and Nate can post on mine. I'm pretty open that way. I think where I would probably put my foot down is if all of a sudden, and a new member, Harvey Scruncher, came over and started posting all of their affiliate links. I'd be like, no, dude, don't do that. Come on.
Oh, Harvey.
I know. You can never trust a hump scruncher. That's what I
Nope.
say. And Jill says the point is that it's incentive for you to create content so that other people might want to join your Patreon. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's one of those things. And I will admit, I thought like I should just start creating the content anyway so people can see what they're missing. But when there's nobody there, it's like, I don't have that incentive yet to start creating it. But now if I have one person there, I have to create. So even if it's Jill, I will still be doing that.
So Patreon is content that is not on any other platform.
That's right. It's going to be
Oh,
exclusive.
so you got to do more. Sounds like you're doing. Wow, it'd drive me bananas to do all that content.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, I don't mind doing it. I look at it this way. Every video I make, when I'm doing my research for it, I learn at least one thing brand new. It's kind of that thing. So it's not bad doing all of that research, and I don't mind doing it because this is what I want to do for my rest of my life. I want to just I want to create content, keep getting better, and like every time I'm doing a video, like today, for example, on the keto video, I learned how to do sort of a overlay on top of a main overlay. So that way there, basically what it meant is like when I was talking about one of these diets where you can eat as much as you want, I wanted some steaks or some steaks behind me, but I didn't want to do it as a picture. I just wanted it to become the background temporarily. So I learned how to do that today. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So it made it look nicer. So it was just me sitting in front of these giant steaks. So to me, that was like
bone in or bone out?
What's that?
Bone in or bone out?
I don't know if they had bones in them or not. So they'd be inside then, I guess.
What is your favorite steak?
I think I like a sirloin. I really like sirloin. Yeah. But I mean, there isn't a steak I don't like. Let's just say that. I am very much a beef fan. And so get some Bitcoin content going. Absolutely. We'll get some Bitcoin content going. And I'll tell you here, and I just want to be clear. The reason I'm talking about putting crypto content on my channel on Patreon is for the simple reason that when I put it on YouTube, it just doesn't get promoted as much as my stock stuff does. And if I'm not going to get that reach, where I'm growing and trying to get to my 1,000 subscribers so that I can start making some money doing this, it makes sense to me to be putting out the videos that are going to get spread by YouTube, the ones that are going to bring new people in. But I still want to provide the content that a lot of you guys want, especially on the crypto side, because there's a good amount of you who are very crypto centric. And that's what Patreon is an option. I looking at it that way, I certainly, I do contribute as well to Crypto Night in Canada, which if you guys are not over on Tim and Nancy's channel, there is a link down below. So definitely sign up, go subscribe to them and watch Crypto Night in Canada. Find out a little bit more about the metaverse.
It was interesting. You know Brandon Beavis, right?
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Did you see his dad?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Did I send that to you or did you get to it before I did?
No, you posted it. You tagged me.
Okay, right.
But I had to watch that yesterday. And what was funny, what was funny about his metaverse video is when I was watching it, I was like, oh, yeah, I've already talked about this stuff months ago.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was funny. I was like, haha, I beat the Beavises to the punch on that one over on Crypto Night.
Yeah, I'm going, why does that? Oh, yeah, Candace. It's like, oh, yeah, Candace. Oh, yeah, Candace. It seems though that he's leaning to Microsoft as a play.
Yeah.
He didn't come out and say it, but he just which is interesting. That and you know what resonated with me is he went on about Chips. And it was the what is it? The Taiwan
semiconductors. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
that's immediately where I went.
We see what I liked is I liked how he broke it apart. I mean, he was talking about first of all, the infrastructure and the hardware and then the software.
Yep.
And then the gaming being something separate. And we're kind of been seeing that over on your channel. We've been seeing that in the top 10. We've been seeing a lot of like chips and software coming in, especially on the stock side. On the stock side, it's almost all chips and software.
Now, do you think that it's more on the stock side because they're more involved with ETFs and they're wound into an ETF? that way, or do you
No,
think it's just a coincidence?
no, because I think if you look at the companies that run, for example, the coins, the companies themselves are not, they're not really worth, well, they're worth money, but they're just not, a lot of them are not even on the stock market per se.
Uh-huh.
Like a lot of them are still private. They haven't even gone public yet. So
ICO, yeah.
yeah, so I think that's kind of why we see kind of almost a complete difference between the
Yep.
two sides.
Yep.
Also, a lot of the people who are into crypto are more, they tend to be younger, and they do tend to be more inclined to be gaming and things like that. And I think that's why we're seeing such a huge amount. But we do get some of these coins as well that are, on the sort of the design side of it as well, which is kind of nice. So I think we got a good amount going back and forth, which is kind of nice.
I found it very interesting to see that when he brought up, oh God, what was he bringing up? Was it the ETFs he was bringing up? And how they were weighted and stuff like that, and how the lowest was always gaming.
Mhm.
And then when he did it with countries, it was like how much was actually coming out of the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, most of the metaverse is coming out of the US.
Well, yeah, and it's like, and yet the SEC is putting up such a stink about certain things, and yet it's right in their own backyard in the stock market.
It is, absolutely. And it's going to be one of those situations. Well, I think things are going to start changing now that Russia is pretty much the legislation that Russia's passed is, it's kind of a game changer, at least in the world of crypto, because before the only real countries who were really, knee deep into crypto were places like, well, like, ah, you know, my mind just gone completely blank, but some of your Central America stuffs, El Salvador, things like that. And now we've got Russia. Russia's a bigger player. They're massive. And I think that's really going to be very interesting to see how that all unfolds. Especially now, if they do move ahead as well and start regulating the crypto miners. Once a big country does it, that's kind of that signal that lets all of the smaller countries and medium-sized countries know, well, this is perhaps not a bad idea. So that could be very interesting.
Well, in India's a very, very large country, and
Oh, yeah.
the minister of whatever said today that she said she's neither poo-pooing crypto nor approving it. So it's like
Mhm.
I guess she had to make a statement, and that was her statement. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, I guess crypto's alive and well in India.
Yeah, I think India actually, it's going to be interesting because the fact that Russia was a country that was banned, that had been trying to ban Bitcoin for a while. Well, and that hasn't even been the government; it's been the banks. So
Mhm,
you got to look at it this way: banks are motivated to ban crypto because it affects the status quo, it affects their bottom
mhm,
line.
mhm.
So that to me makes a lot of sense. So I'm going to start looking when I hear of these bans coming out of different countries. I'm going to be looking, where's the source of the ban? Is it coming from a bank? If it's coming from a bank, I'm going to not give it as much weight.
Yeah.
Now, if it's coming from a government per se, then yeah, I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's definitely not a good move.
Yeah.
But I think with Russia, it kind of changes things quite a bit.
Yeah. We'll see. Russia's got their hands full right now,
Mhm.
Ukraine or crypto. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I'm sorry to laugh, but I mean, this is just some of this stuff you gotta laugh at and go, "Really?" Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, even though you look at the rhetoric on that the US has having right now about, oh, it's going to happen before the Olympics are done and there's going to be airstrikes. I still get the feeling I still don't think it's happening. It's
I go back to that movie with Robert De Niro, Wag the Dog,
Wag the
and
dog. Yeah.
it's just like, you know what? And even if that's not the fact, you keep saying it, and sure as crap, they're gonna go, "Well, the media's reporting it. Why the hell not just, launch a plane and let it happen?" It's like, really? Like, you guys need to go back to the old days where it was like, you just report it when it happened,
Mhm.
not poke the bear.
Yeah, exactly. And then just to quickly comment on Ryan, absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. It's always good to get ahead of the game for sure. I have a really good day if I can have all my scripting done the day before filming, because that's always nice. And Jill agrees as well. Great show. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, it has been a really good show. Guys, we are getting kind of late into the show. So if you guys get any more questions, let's just say we'll give you 10 minutes. Just so get those final questions in, because I had planned on this being a 90-minute show, and we're at 99 minutes. So we went a little bit over time already.
Was there any other questions that we hadn't covered that you wanted to ask?
I think we covered quite a bit with the finance, at least on the couple side, which is good. And then we moved a little bit. But I mean, heck, if you got stuff you want to say, we'll stay.
No, I mean it's just it's a lot of self-discipline. And as I was saying to my cousin, or I'll call him my cousin's son, because he seems that way. He might as well be that anyway. I said, it comes down to, because he's in investment properties, looking for investment properties, blah, 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 blah. And he says, so, his financial guy is ringing the alarm bell saying, liquidate everything and have no debt and cash. And I'm going, what's his basis for that? And he says it's going to happen in 6 months. And I'm like, okay, well, he goes, well, do you think so? And I said, no, I don't think so. I said, but it brings up a good point that, if something happens, have you looked at your finances? He goes, no, it's on my list. I said, put it at the top of your list. It's, what folks in this on this chat right now and on this live stream, where, whether you're single or whether you're a couple, and to each his own, because you each have your own boundaries and stuff like that, but you don't have your own boundaries when you're single. So there's no excuse. Put it down on paper, because as soon as you put it down on paper, I swear to God, you're going to have an aha moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to have an aha moment, and you're going to save. He said, what was the biggest thing that popped out of it the very first time he did this, like 5 years ago? I said, the very first thing, I'll tell you the company's name. It was called Cogeco. I immediately saved $175 a month by cutting out my landline and by cutting out all my packages on my internet and stuff like that. And Cogeco came back and said, well, if you cut your landline, we can't give you this and this and this. I said, cut it. I don't care. Don't hold me hostage. You know what I'm saying? But you will have well, I'll call it a holy shit moment. And it turned us around. It turned us around. And I think that if you want to get into if you want to have more money for retirement and more money to play in crypto or in stocks, I think Rye would agree just as much as all of us would agree that it's nickel and diamond, and start with your budget.
Yeah. And keep in mind too, when you actually start writing everything down, you're going to find what I call vampire expenses. And what I mean by that is there's just little things, like little tiny subscriptions that you've got that you didn't even realize you still had, that are taking little bits of money from you, sort of like bleeding you every single month. That's why I call them vampire expenses. But yeah, get rid of those. Like,
couldn't agree with you more.
If you've got a lot of subscription services, if you're not using a subscription service, get rid of it. Or if you've got a subscription service, and let's say, your brother across the street got the exact same subscription service, well, most of those things will give you a room for a family. You don't have to be in the same house if you're across the street.
That's a really good thing. And go into those like every time you see, did I subscribe to this? Take the time, log into that Netflix or log into that GoDaddy account, the ones that have the automatic renewal, and take it off automatic renewal.
Yeah. Or I'm going to also go in the opposite direction too. If it's a service that you're going to use, so for example, with me, with my GoDaddy account, I know that I'm not going to be getting rid of my website space, because I host my mom's site on it. I host a couple of my sites on it. So what I do is I pay for my server time by the year, because I get a cheaper rate by doing that.
Right.
Yeah, you're paying a little more upfront, but over that year, I've actually saved money. So that makes a lot of sense for me. So I will do that. And just with that subscription thing again, I'll give you an example. I do subscribe to Disney Plus. Only because I'm a Marvel geek and a Star Wars geek. So that's where all that content lives. But my nephews in Newfoundland, they love all that stuff. And there's tons of stuff that they love that are Disney. So, one of my logins, they've got it. They're using it, so it makes a lot of sense when you share. And
Yeah, like
you
you
can
buy a
save
subscription
money.
for Prime and someone else buys one for Crave.
Yeah, exactly.
Something of equal value, and then you share it that way. So really you're just paying for one, but the agreement is, okay, you buy this one and we'll share that. And now it's the best of both worlds. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Now,
Until someone in their wisdom says, no, can't do that anymore. And they take that away. And it's like,
yeah, no, I think you have to be family, but they don't
right.
define what family is. If I said to Tim, you're like family to me. Let's share a plan. Hey, cool.
Huh.
It works that way. So there's lots of ways to save money. And when you do your inventory and you look and start a budget, you'll be surprised. You'll see things that you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm wasting $20 a month on this. And if that $20 a month were instead going into, say, Wealthsimple, and you are pulling up, just buying an ETF or something, you would actually make an insane amount of money. And of course, if you don't have Wealthsimple yet, apparently, there's a code down there that you can use to get 2 free stocks. Don't know how that happened. That was very good timing.
My goodness.
I know. It's just the power of the internet.
And it shall appear.
Yeah. And we all have to thank Ryan, by the way, for the background behind me and Tim tonight. I just didn't even dawn on me that I could put a background there. And then Ryan was like, you should put a background up. I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, Ryan.
So did you get the screenshot of my background at all?
No, I didn't get that yet, but
I'm waiting for it because one day I'm going to load in. And it's like, wait a minute, that looks really familiar.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, you have to leave.
Oh,
get it. I can't really get rid of you. So you have to leave. I have to screenshot it, and then come back. That's how I got
the watermark.
That's how I got Ryan's. But yeah, I mean, now that the green screen, now that the green screen is, it's all good and everything. I don't have to worry about that so much. And now it's interesting. I only use the webcam now for the live streams. So now when I'm doing
I saw that last night.
My videos, I'm using this baby here.
So what is that?
It's a Canon? Camera.
No,
it Canon? Is a Canon. Yeah, it's a Canon. It's got a Rode mic on it. And this mic,
what is that?
Mic, if Jill's upstairs walking, this mic will pick up her footsteps.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, this here, the actual camera is Sony, so it's
Sony.
Yeah, it's a Sony. Sorry. But yeah, it is an amazing little job. It does.
So are you setting that up as a second cam?
Well, I've got a little setup behind on the other side of here where I can set it up. Now, right now, because I'm using the teleprompter on the laptop, it limits how much of me I can put into the video. But once we get a teleprompter for that, then I can just pull the laptop down and we can have the whole desk sitting right here in front of me.
What are you using for a teleprompter?
Right now, I'm using something called Prompt. It only works on Apple products.
Okay, fine.
But it works really well. So it removes everything on the screen, and then at the very top of my monitor, I've got scrolling words, sort of the opposite, sort of like the Star Wars opening logo.
Yep.
And I'm just reading it. As long as I'm looking at the top, even now with the camera behind coming at here, me reading on the top, it looks like I'm looking at the camera. So
correct, yeah. That's really probably why they have it there, right? Because most cameras are positioned there, yeah.
Exactly. But now we're also, interesting enough, so here, let me turn off. I'm going to turn off the green screen, folks. Just give me a second here. So you guys, I think you guys who were here last week, you got to see this as well. All right. So here's the green screen right in here. So in behind me, this is what the green screen looks like. Now over here, turning this a bit, there's a Christmas tree, a light, and I got to turn a bit more. See if we can.
Yeah, there was a shot of it. I think you had a shot somewhere of it from the back of the room showing your whole setup.
Now you can see right here, you can see a little pole on the side. I can't go any further than this.
No, I can't see the pole. I can see a pole.
Yeah, you can see the cat. See the cat's head?
Yeah. I got that.
Well, that pole is another one where the green screen is. And so what's going to be going against that other wall is a blue screen. And the reason for that is if I ever want to do something with my shirt with my logo on it, because there's green in the logo, it will disappear on this and it'll make it look like there's a hole going straight through me. So if I do it in front of the blue screen and key out the blue screen, then I can wear a green. If I, or let's say if I want to do a St. Patrick's Day stream or video around that date, I could wear green by sitting in front of the blue screen.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know it's getting a little complicated. It's safe, Jill. You can go sit back there. Jill was just sitting there. She ran out of the way as I was turning the camera.
My hair.
It's like, no. So that's kind of people.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I actually wanted to get a setup going in my car, and do live clips from the car. I haven't figured that out. I actually wanted, those LED bars that tell you words like it's a train stop or something at the bus stop or something, right? And I wanted to have it with a camera pointing backwards so that I got some doofus up on my tail. I could dictate something into it and then get his reaction, say, "You're now being recorded. Back off, dope." And then put it live stream. It would be hilarious content. Because you get people that would absolutely just come right up on your tail just to get you, and it's just like, go ahead.
Yeah. No,
you're going to be live in about 5 minutes, partner.
That would actually be very, very interesting. All right. Ryan's talking. Most people can find that 10 to 20% raise they were looking for by simply reevaluating their budget. Truest thing I've ever learned. Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to raise? Stop wasting your money. Budgeting will find where you are losing money. And people, even if you're here thinking I'm not, you trust me, you are.
Well, you actually can save tax money or defer your tax money by actually investing it into RSPs and etc. too. So
yeah. Jason says I do a weekly budget to keep my money going where it's supposed to go. And Ken says, great mic. Jason's asking if Ken is doing a show. And
silly question.
Set up, Jason. I just haven't made the link. Yeah, like we actually were joking last night that when Ken gets his vacation that week, he'll probably do 7 shows. We can see it. Like
well, were you on last night when it was like they were going to do like a freaking Oracle telethon?
I
were suggesting that.
I just left. I actually pointed out to Ken that I think it was Mark. Was it Mark? Mark Chapman? I think that's his name. He had pointed out that idea, and I thought it was a good idea. So I left it with them, with Nay and Ken as I left.
I wonder what the longest one is.
I don't know. And I was thinking too, like, I think there's organizations out there that they do all of the grunt work for you. All you do is you simply give the link to, their website, and they take all the money. I think when you do it that way, there's a lot less hoops to jump through when it comes to legalities of doing a fundraiser. And then you can pretty much choose who you want to do it for. So, if you want to do it for like, I think one of the fan favorites in the community has been some of the animal shelters. You probably choose an animal shelter or, or the Candace Mountain Fund for Better Lunches. Because I like good lunch. No, don't do that one. But there's a lot that you could definitely do. And yeah, Ken's saying that he wanted to look at raising the money for a foundation. 9.35 hours. I think that's
42 seconds, Ken. I remember that number from last night.
Yeah.
Or this morning, whenever it was.
And that's the thing. I mean, if Ken does do a 24-hour, he needs to start looping a lot of us in, like saying,
"Oh yeah,
I need to be able to eat at this time, or have a bathroom breaks here. Can you be covering during this time?" Just to make sure there's always somebody steering the ship through that 24 hours. And if it's for charity, I think you'll have no issue at all getting all of us out there for it, because I'll jump all over it, because I like to give back to the community.
Chris is asking what Ken's channel is, and Chris, it's the freaking Oracle, just like you see it on screen.
Yep. If you look at his name, the friggin' Oracle. If you even just typed in the friggin' Oracle, it's going to be the only one that comes up, called the friggin' Oracle. So there, Rye is in as well. So you got Ryan, you got me. I'm sure that as long as it's not in the middle of the night, you probably have the Danters.
I can cover the pee breaks.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and it doesn't. It can be content about anything. I mean, it's just like this is where you just pull out all the stops.
Exactly. And you can even ask people to, hey, you know what? Bring some content. I'd prepare something. I'd bring
You
content.
just, you know what? If it's in the summertime, I'll put the leash on the dog and go for a walk and start talking to people on the street.
Yeah. Okay. That's very cool. He can start waving down the bad drivers and, tell them what they're doing wrong and film it. That would be epic. Yeah, it'll be shift work.
And by the way, Andrew did get the question right last night. That was hilarious when I said, what's the first thing you do when you get in a car after you sat down in the driver's seat? Everybody's going off, circle check, and this and that, and this. And then Andrew comes in and he says, well, I'd shut the door. And it's like,
oh, was that the right answer?
that's the right answer.
Okay. Fair enough.
Ken gets in, I put the seatbelt on, turn the car on. It's like,
because me and Ken were arguing about that circle check. Like you should have done that before you got in the car.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like, how do you do that when you're in the car? I mean, okay, I've got a 360 camera. Okay. Lazy ass.
And Ryan mentioned that Andrew made him a beautiful song.
Oh, well,
it was perfect for Valentine's Day.
Maybe he and Nate can
put
them together somehow.
If those two crazy kids, Ryan and Andrew, wanted to get married, I'll go actually, Nate's a minister. We don't even need for me to go get a license to do it. Nate could do it. We could turn it. It could be part of the charity. Oh.
Nope, not even gonna bite.
No, I wouldn't blame you. But I had to go there because I'm weird.
Well, and you're the host.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all right.
And if you want to tune in tonight, oh my God, is he going to do it again tonight?
I don't know.
Oh,
now,
dear God.
Normally,
I have to get into bed and do pillow talk for Andrew, though.
Exactly. And normally the Friggin' Oracle show starts in about 4 minutes. I imagine it's going to take them a little bit longer because, me and Tim have gone longer than we thought we were going to go.
And what was that last night? It's just like he at 8:30 start, then a 9 o'clock start, and then this start. And it's like, I don't think he gets what it's supposed to be when it says scheduled for this time.
I know.
Well, he got all pooched and all kerfuffled about Satama or something, didn't he?
Yeah, that and Lily. So it's one of those things. All right. So anyway, guys, it has been a fantastic show. You guys had got a little more than the 10 minutes I promised you guys, but I really appreciate everybody being here. You guys are all fantastic. Like I said, remember next week we got Gary. Come out and support Gary. It's going to be a very fantastic show, so I'm looking forward to it. Tim, once again, thank you for coming.
My pleasure. Anytime.
And check out Monday's show. It's going to be awesome. All right. Anyway,